And you are also, I couldn't put it in the homage that I did for you. You are unflappable. You know, in everything. You know, if were you born that way? I mean, you just keep, you do everything, and you don't let anything, like the unsinkable.
Well, it's funny that you say the unsinkable Molly Brown. That was the second show that I did.
Wow.
And I played Roberts the Butler. I was 17 years old. And the first show that I had auditioned for, I think I told you the story before, but I went and auditioned for Mame when I was 13 years old, and I didn't get it. And but I sat by the phone for 2 weeks waiting for that phone call because they said, we'll be in touch. And that meant they were going to be in touch.
Right,
So
I
I
get
left,
that.
and in those days, we had one phone in our dining room. We were, and I would not let my mom stay on the phone for long, or my sister, much to her chagrin. But I sat by the phone for 2 weeks waiting for the call that never came. And then I found out they were holding rehearsals, and I showed up at the first rehearsal, and they were giving out sides. For those who don't know, sides are just your portion of the script. They were giving out sides, and there was a part for a messenger, 2 lines. And Miss Epps, who became my mentor in South Carolina, she said, why don't we give this part to Ricky? And so that was how I got my foot in the door in the theater. And I showed up at every rehearsal. I ran those 2 lines in my head over and over and over again. And then I ended up getting cast in The Unsinkable Molly Brown. And I remember asking Linda Simmons, the director, what was it about me that cast you in this show? And she said, anyone who would work that hard on those 2 lines deserves a bigger chance. And she gave it to me. And that opened the doors for me in theater.
That is amazing. And that's, you're being unflappable. You didn't let anything stop. And the belief, that you were supposed to be on the stage.
Absolutely. I came to New York when I was 18 because I was reading the book, The Magic of Believing. And in the book, it says, set your mind on a goal like a homing pigeon and go after it with dogged determination. And I was reading this book, true story, I'm reading this book August 5th, 1974. I closed the book and I said to my mom and dad, 5 years from today, I'm going to New York. And I did.
Wow.
From a small farm in South Carolina. And, and that's the way I live my life. I've learned to believe, I'm a very spiritual person. And I believe that if you believe it, you can conceive it. And I believe very firmly that so much of us get caught up, and especially in the world that we're currently living in, on what's out there. And what we have to start thinking is what's in here, and how can we get what is in here out there? And that's the way I live my life. And I've learned to, I'm going to be 63 any second now, and I've reached a point in my life where I let go of all that stuff. One of my favorite books, another great book, is The 4 Agreements.
Oh, yes.
And one of the agreements is it's not about you. And not to take things personally. And I think we're so caught up in this world nowadays. You mentioned my show, Richard Skipper Celebrates. And when people ask, why do you call the show Richard Skipper Celebrates? I believe that there's so much, it's seeped its way into every aspect of our culture. It's in reality television. It's in sitcoms. It's in our music. I mean, there's a case going on right now in Georgia where they're listening to the lyrics from rap songs. And there's this whole controversy. Do we separate the singer or the artist from the art? And it is a matter of what we choose to put out into the world.
That's true.
Yes.
And you choose elegance and, wonderful
Absolutely.
things and values and worth. And yes, it's great. You and I share something else that I discovered in the last show, and I've heard you share it on your shows. We both were hugely influenced by television talk of the 60s, 70s,
60s and 70s, yes.
And, like the Dinah Shore, Phil Donahue, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas. And what is your like my take on what I liked about it, I think, is I liked to hear people talk about what they did and have the, people ask questions, and I'm just always fascinated. And the sharing and, gifts of sharing their lives. And I wondered what was it? Was it the same kind of thing for you, or was there a different part of that glue that you saw there?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, I'm interested in what makes a person tick. I want to know how they got from point A to point B and beyond. I'm not interested in their private lives. I'm not interested in what goes on behind closed doors. Right now, I'm listening to Barbra Streisand's audiobook. Marie, Anne, it is 48 hours, this book. And listening to it, and I tell all your listeners and your viewers, go and listen to this. I mean, if you're a fan of Barbra Streisand, it's almost as if you are sitting with an old friend and you're just having a conversation. I don't want it to ever end, because she's talking in great detail about all of the things that happened in her career as it unfolded. She kept journals, and she's gone back and she's looked at these journals. That is what I'm interested in, because I think that every person on this planet, we can learn from them. We can glean certain aspects from them and what makes that person special. The fact that a person becomes a celebrity and they are thrust into the spotlight, and so many friends will say to me, "Oh my God, I went to the theater the other night and Jane Fonda was there, and I got a chance to have my picture taken with Jane Fonda." And I always say to them, she got a chance to have her picture taken with you.
Well, Richard, that's why you say you celebrate people's worth.
But as I said, we could sit here and we could gossip about anybody. But why? That doesn't benefit us, and that doesn't benefit them either. So it's all about celebrating.
Right, and like I say, you celebrate them, and I have them tell what they have to offer, and that's a celebration too, because it's what we each bring to the table in the world, and and living our goals and dreams, and we make that happen that
Kindred souls.
Yep, exactly. Well, I guess we really got influenced by, I loved Dinosaur, and I used to think I always wanted to be like a guest on one of those shows, but then I just wanted to have people tell their stories,
Absolutely.
I not decided when I started doing it, but what I really know now is I just say that I'm a conduit for people to be able to share their story. That's it. That's what I think my purpose is.
Well, I started doing all of this because of COVID. I mean, when COVID hit, my career, the world stopped.
Oh, yeah, I was going to get into that.
And so I just started doing it from my office in my house, setting up lighting, getting StreamYard, which is the platform I use, getting the right microphone. And now I'm self-sufficient.
It's such a fully, beautifully realized program every time,
well,
the ones
thank
I've
you.
seen. But we're going to talk more about that in a few minutes, because we'll get in that. You did a version of